I realized I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Vivian Gordon, and this is a reflection called The Earth is God by Reverend Arif Mamdani. Love is at the center. Every justice necessitates climate justice, and climate justice necessitates every justice. These are new stories that we are telling. We are learning to tell ourselves a new story about our wholeness. We are learning to imagine ourselves into a different relationship with the earth and how we live with them. We need these stories urgently because we need a complete transformation in how we live on this planet, how we understand ourselves in relationship to our earth and what we are called to be and to do as a result. In other words, we need to imagine our way into different stories, and then we need to live them. This is exactly the move that theologian Sally McFague makes when she argues that the earth is the body of God. McFague was writing in the 1980s. Some of us were alive then, some of us weren't. And if you weren't alive, and then I'm going to try and probably fail to describe just a little bit of what it was like. By the mid-80s, Earth Day was a known quantity in much of liberal America. Tensions over the oil crisis had everyone thinking about ways to be more energy efficient and more energy independent. Environmentalists saw a glimmer of hope, and we also saw many, many gathering clouds of war and global destruction in the form of a nuclear weapons race. At 48 years old, I think I was one of the last to have regular nuclear war drills in school. And even that was elementary school. They were an artifact of the past by my middle school years. But the specter of nuclear annihilation was very real, very present, and the sense of living within a period of existential threat was palpable. Not to put too fine a point on it, but McFague was writing into the teeth of the apocalypse. She was doing theology on the cusp of existential annihilation. In other words, not too different from the theology that we're doing today with the presence of the earth and its suffering in our hearts and in our minds. Her method, which she called metaphorical theology, asked us to move into a place of imagination through her question, how would we think or act differently if this were true? She knew that she was working against entrenched notions of God, just as we are today. And instead of arguing and trying to knock an idol off its base, she said, keep your idol. Keep those ideas. Just ask this question with me. How would you think or act differently if this was true? And then she said, what if Earth was the body of God? I get shivers when I ask that question. And if you're struggling with this, let me remind you of two things. First, that some theologians had defined God as that which is greater than us, that which we are wholly reliant upon, and that which we cannot live without, which is to say that nature, which is to say our earth, does a very good job fitting that definition and criteria. Second, many have said that if I look at my checkbook, I will know what I believe in. If I look at my credit card statement, it will tell me what I believe in. If we were to look at checkbooks, if we were to look at our credit card statements, what would they say we believe in? If we are going to have a God today, if we are going to put any logic up above us and follow its call, if we are going to open our hearts in surrender to anything, and particularly knowing that what we believe shapes how we act shapes what we believe. Thinking and acting as if the earth was the body of God would be an awfully good model to live with and live within. Hang out in that space of imagination with me for a few moments. Can we imagine how different things would be if we behaved and acted as if we believed that the earth that we walk on, the earth that gives us everything we have, is the body of our Creator? The funny thing, of course, is that we need not imagine at all. It is literally true that we are wholly reliant upon the earth, that the forces of nature are far greater than we can ever be and beyond our understanding and imagination, and that we literally cannot live without it. Western intellect has made the fundamental category error of believing that we are separate from that which we are inseparably apart. The earth is God, and we are intimately part of God's body. What would we do? What would we not do? How would we move through a world where everything is holy, where everything is sacred, where everything is a story of gratitude and interdependence? How would we live if we understood that we can come here not to make this the site of our efforts, but rather a place to fill our spirits, a place for collective care, a place for healing, one that kindles and replenishes our imagination, one that helps us to recenter in imagination of what we could be so that we can go out and live it. And in that process of living it, make the world as it could be.